This is a point I've been making a lot recently, Tom, which is that at a minimum, the media was able to distract the public for 2 years. We'll never get our 2 years back, and we'll never get the 2018 election back, where the Democrats won these seats, and they won them largely because of this gigantic lie that a lot of us saw as a lie a year and a half ago or more. So you have
By the
been,
way,
yes.
Rosenstein announced there were no Americans involved in collusion on February 16th, 2018, or thereabouts.
Wow, I had forgotten that. Thank you for that. Tom Fitton's with me. Tom, it is, I think I know the answer to this, but I want to hear it in your words. Is it time to investigate the investigators?
We've been doing it for 2 years. I mean, we exposed
is it time
the
to
president tweeted this out
institutionalize
the
it?
other day, 11 payments to steal by the Obama FBI at the same time the Clinton gang is paying them. We exposed Andrew Weissman being an anti-Trumper last year. We have lawsuits for the coup documents. Oh, the time is already here, and I hope the Attorney General starts doing what Judicial Watch is doing, and I'm hopeful he does. But we're not going to wait for him. And in the meantime, if they want to do prosecutions, wonderful. The least the Justice Department can do is stop the cover-up that has been protected Mueller and those who created the circumstances that led to his appointment from full accountability.
So give us a sense of, fill us in on some of the details on what you've been up to at Judicial Watch, and then give us where you would begin if you were the president or the attorney general or folks in the Congress. What can be done to start the righting at least some of the wrongs of this witch hunt?
Well, they should release all the information that's out there that's been publicly requested, certainly by the last Congress, related to the FISA warrants, the text messages between Struck-Page, et cetera, the unmasking information. The president, at his next this is one way to approach it. At his next cabinet meeting, he should have one next week and say, look, this is over, this Russia collusion. But it's not over in terms of the assault on our republic by various agencies misusing resources to target their, quote, political opposition. So I want you all to go back, and everyone knows how their agencies were involved in this, and open the books, open the records, err on the side of transparency. And if you're going to withhold anything for classified reasons, I tell you what, you send it back to me at the White House. And I'll be the final decider as to whether something's going to be withheld that protects the deep state and the Obama-Clinton gang from accountability under the guise of classification.
Tom Fitton, president of Judicial Watch. Now, Tom, the media reaction, I think, has been pretty typical here. Their efforts to move goalposts. Is there where do you think they go? Do you think they understand? Because it seems like the wind's coming out of their sails right away. They're trying to say that this is this national treasure, like impeachment roadmap, where they have to decipher the code of our founding fathers in order to determine where the impeachment is. So I guess making this some sort of, this is like part of a Jerry Bruckheimer plot for some sort of a movie. But we know that's not really what it is. And when Adam Schiff is saying there's not going to be any impeachment, do you see this news cycle flaming out instantly, or do you see it continuing, given the fact that this press is such a bubble? Do you think they'll continue to try to pursue this impeachment narrative?
Well, they'll certainly try to talk about it. Whether the politicians pursue impeachment, I'm suspicious. In the end, I think the Democratic leadership wants to have their version of boo bait for their bubbas by talking about impeachment for not doing anything. But it will still be damaging and an abuse of power to even suggest that at this point that there is a basis for impeachment. The president did not collude with Russia. He did not lawfully or unlawfully impede any Justice Department investigations. In fact, he was prevented by his lawyers from exercising its constitutional duties to provide oversight on this abuse of power that was targeting his presidency. So what high crime or misdemeanor or equivalent thereof did President Trump engage in? There's nothing there. And if I were, and of course the media is not, I don't like the phrase conspiracy theory because that suggests an innocence. These folks knew what they were up to. They knew there was no truth to it. They were complicit in illegal activity. And I'm talking about the liberal advocacy groups at the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, and such that were getting illegal leaks of classified information that they were publishing. And the laws against the mishandling and the publication of classified information, there's no media exception to them. So as part of this prosecutorial effort that Attorney General Barr needs to undertake, he needs to figure out who in the media was involved in these crimes as well. I don't know if they're going to prosecute them as a matter of policy, but certainly they're witnesses to the crimes. And I'd like to know why the New York Times is still protecting the liars who gave them dirt to try to destroy Trump. And, unless, of course, they were happy to publish the lies and they were happy to be part of that effort. As I said, the media are liberal advocacy groups. That's what they've proven themselves to be, liberal advocacy groups that sometimes perform journalism, but in the end, they have a political agenda, and we should call them out on it.
Sure, and at the risk of correcting you, Tom, I feel like that is a charitable read. I'm looking at the Washington Post cover. This is literally the or I guess it's 6 columns, all the way across the top. Mueller details Russian interference, Trump's attempt to disrupt probe. That is the lead. Democracy dies in darkness at the Jeff Bezos funded.
That's written by Adam Schiff and Fusion GPS.
Yeah. It's almost even
not literally,
even,
but
sure.
They're still running the show here, guys.
So Tom Fitton again is with me. Tom has got 2 of the great characteristics that you could have. Is that first of all, he's a fearless guy. And second of all, he's a tenacious guy. He's got high energy and he's brave. JudicialWatch.org. He's the president there. Tom, I was on Tucker Carlson's show on Wednesday, and I went through in detail, in as much detail as you can do in 5 minutes, the extent to which folks like you and me are under attack from the establishment, not just the press, but really the left wing that controls our big tech. They control our media. And one thing, you and I are in the same category in that we have both been classified by Microsoft's NewsGuard as fake news. So everything either of us put out is considered fake news, even if we put out straight, pure fact. Even if we were to quote back a NewsGuard sanctioned site, we get red shields on Microsoft browsers that suggest that everything we're putting out are lies. WikiLeaks is the same. Drudge Report is the same. And this is yet another example of you and me boldly coming out there. And by me, of course, I mean Breitbart and this incredible audience and our partners at SiriusXM. The list goes on. We've been right every step of the way here. And yet the fake news and the tech establishment branding us fake news. Washington Post continuing to lie to their people. And big tech protects them with a green shield sanction. I wouldn't know if you had thought about this, if you had any reaction to it.
I did. I've looked at it. It's troubling. The only out they have, it's just an option available to put onto your browser. I don't know if it necessarily comes out of the box in terms of Microsoft.
Sure, but we can even go big picture here about
Americans that use
sure.
Explorer.
Yeah,
but it's this effort by the left, to suppress speech. And I know it's troubling, but let me just suggest, Alex, it means that we're winning.
Yes, it is.
If Breitbart wasn't successful, if Judicial Watch was not having an impact on trying to save, in terms of saving the country, if conservatives weren't successful online, the left wouldn't have to resort to dishonest and suppressive efforts to keep us quiet. That's why they're resorting to violence in the public sphere. It's why they're exhorting the lawlessness and a coup to try to overthrow the president. It's because they're losing the traditional democratic republic methods of engaging in the policy debates. And now they're using the corporations running the internet to try to suppress us. And it means we're winning. So I know it doesn't mean we don't have to defend it. We shouldn't defend ourselves from this threat to us. It's a badge of honor